Hakkiyoi listeners, let's learn sumo. Welcome to the podcast for 2024. Sorry we're a bit late. I'm actually travelling at the moment. I've been overseas for about 4 weeks now. Spent a bit of time in Vietnam and Thailand, and I'm now on the way home through Bali, so on the way home tonight. So I thought I'll try and get an episode recorded today after day one, and we'll see how we go in the next few days. I'll catch up, probably day 3 or 4 by the time I get home to Australia. Interestingly, in Thailand, saw some Muay Thai. That was really interesting. Very similar ceremonies to begin the fights, rooted in, obviously, the religion and deeply embedded in Thai culture. Great fights. Anyway, let's move on to sumo for 2024. I hope you enjoyed the Fight of the Year episode from 2023. Some really good fights. I know I neglected to put up the Fight of the Year list, I think, so I'll check that and make sure I get that whole list up so you can go back and rewatch some of those fights. Let's move on to the Bunsuke, which, for a great little Christmas present, came out on Christmas Day. The big news there was Ura making it up to Komusubi for the first time. He was joined by Takayasu, the big bear. Wakamoto Haru, unfortunately, after his 6 and 9, he was demoted 2 places to from Sekiwake back to Megashira 1. A little bit harsh to drop 2 full places, but Takayasu and Ura had the pressure to go up the Bunsuke at that time. Terunofuji obviously stays at Yokozuna. No other major rises or drops, but we'll go through them as we hit the list. So we didn't get the preview episode out, so we're now at the end of day 1. Day 2 has already started. As I sit here, I see some of the Jonadan fights are ongoing, and unfortunately, little stickbug sumo, Najima, has lost on his first day to I think it was a Kotanage throw, but I haven't seen the replay of that one yet. Yokozuna Terunofuji, well, look, recent reports from his bayo was that he was fit to compete in January, and he did compete on day 1. There's still a little bit of, maybe not doubts on his fitness and his back, but also certainly Terunofuji himself said he hasn't been fighting much, and his stamina is perhaps in a bit of question there. So, but he has been fighting and training with his usual dominance. Now, he faced Ura, the new Komishin Komusubi, on day 1, and Ura, after he had big knee problems, some operations, saw him fall all the way back down to Jonadan. The Osaka boy, he changed his style, and he's now risen to Komusubi. He's certainly a very active wrestler. He's, I think, of all his style and his wins, most of them are others. So he doesn't always win by Yorakiri or Oshidashi. He has a great range. He's got a very Greco-Roman wrestling roots. I think he was a bit too small, and he did a lot of Greco-Roman wrestling to begin his career, and then changed to his low style and came across to sumo. His acrobatics, I think, come from that flexibility that he provides these days, and sometimes he can be a bit more of a hindrance than a help, but certainly he's keen to rise further, and he's quite keen. He'll have a difficult run at Komusubi on both weeks, so this will continue to be a bit of a hard test for him as he faces the meat grinder position that Komusubi can Megashira 1. They can be real meat grinders, and they need to get some wins over the Sekiwake ranked guys. So he faced the Yokozuna. It was a pretty good touchy-eye by both guys. Terunofuji, however, got Ura's arm under his arm. He does go for that big double arm pull under, which really looks quite painful if you're on the end of that. Swung him around the dohyo, got an Oshidashi win as Ura went backwards. He overbalanced at the bales after he was swung around. A really good first win by Terunofuji. He showed he's got pretty good balance and mobility there, had a bit of push forward, so that's a pretty good thing to see there. Ura, well, unfortunately, I hope he didn't do any damage to his arm, because it's looked like he nearly got it torn out of its socket. Takakeisho, he dropped from Ozeki 1 East to Ozeki 2 West on the back of his 9 and 6. Kirishima and Hoshoryu both putting in double-digit performances in November. Kirishima taking the Yusho Trophy, placing him in Ozeki 1 East. So Takakeisho faced Midori Fuji on day one. Midori Fuji continues his hot run since September, promoted to Megashira 2 East after a 9 and 6. He was unlucky in that 6-minute 40 marathon with Hokuseiho. I thought he probably, if anything, he deserved to win, but unfortunately the bigger guy got him in the end. That will be quite a classic fight for the ages. Look, expect similar fight from the Shizuoka Pocket Rocket. I was really looking forward to his rematch with Takakeisho. If you go back, that's the fight of the year, my fight of the year of last year. If you have another one, let me know. If you've been through all of those fights, let me know what you think. Midori Fuji and Takakeisho, they met up early. Midori Fuji had a bit of a mutter, but look, it was kind of Takakeisho's fault, and it's an ongoing thing with Takakeisho that some people have seen. He swings his arms down at the tachiai and doesn't quite touch the dohyo with his fists. Midori charged in. He showed a bit of intent. It was a matter. On the second go, again, you can see Takakeisho barely touches, if at all, touches the dohyo. Midori Fuji tries a henker, but Takakeisho catches it in a bit of a slow tachiai, a little bit of thrusting, and Midori Fuji steps out backwards under pressure. An oshidashi win there for Takakeisho. Look, I think if you're going to criticise Takakeisho, it'll be that touchdown style that the referees let him get away with that probably caused Midori Fuji to both mutter and change his style for a hanker in the second one. Kirishima faced the newly demoted Wakamoto Haru. Wakamoto Haru at Megashira 1, it all fell apart in November. It's his first Makikoshi in at Megashira. Just didn't have any push, didn't have any real spirit to what he was doing. He looked nervous, not sure what went wrong. I haven't heard of any injuries that he had. I think others just got a bit of defence to his inside-outside grip. And this time, Kirishima, he just proved a bit stronger. He let Wakamoto Haru come to him. Wakamoto Haru pushed hard first, thrust, and Kirishima met him in the thrust, but just felt that Wakamoto Haru was a bit too committed, and he pulled him down to the side for a Hikiyatoshi arm pull-down win. Waka was just simply overpowered and just couldn't make it happen. Hoshoryu, our other Ozeki, he went to Ozeki 1 West looking for a bit more consistency. He did punch out a double figure 10 and 5 win, but that I think is expected to be the minimum for an Ozeki, is a double digit. He faced our hotshot riser Atami Fuji. Atami Fuji won the Japanese Sports Award for the best rookie in Japanese professional sports. That's a fairly prestigious award in Japan, and he won that for 2023 during the December break. I think he was quite chuffed to win that one. I did see a recent interview between Atami Fuji and Midori Fuji there from the same Bayer. Look, it showed they're very good friends. They basically ribbed each other fairly gently all the way through the interview. They have a very good relationship. They both, however, have clear ambitions about what they want to do. Atami Fuji, he needs a way to beat Kirishima, having lost a couple of times there. Hoshoryu and Atami Fuji, well, they had that fight on day one. Hoshoryu got a really great right grip, and he tried a lifting hip throw, and that put Atami Fuji right on the bails for a pretty easy Yorikiri push-out. I think Atami Fuji, for me, needs to get a little bit more strength. He's still quite young. You've got to remember he's quite a young lad. Whilst he's carrying a little bit of extra weight in this tournament, I think his strength is going to be the thing that he needs to work on against some of these senior guys. In Sekiwake, our other Sekiwake, Kotonowake, he moves to Sekiwake 1 East, top spot after 11-4, after only losing to Kirishima, Ura, Shodai and Ryuden. He faced Arby on day one. Now, bear in mind that I think Kotonowaka, I think he needs 13 wins this tournament to push for an Ozeki promotion. So we're looking for him to do it. I think he's capable of 13 wins. Even with an 11 in November, I think he can push those extra few wins out. Pretty good sumo win over Arby today. Kotonowaka has really good forward push, and he overpowered Arby. It was a very standard, very good sumo oshidashi win. Just some good pushing, good thrusting, and he took that fairly easily. Our other Sekiwake, Daesho, 9-6 in November, Mr. Consistency. Remember, he was only really beaten out on the number of wins for 2023 by Kirishima. I think Kirishima had something like 62 wins, and Daesho was around 60, if I remember correctly. He was up against Gonayama. So Daesho, I think whilst he's Mr. Consistency, he's looking to restart his Ozeki run. I think he needs to start winning 11, 12, 13 wins on a regular basis, not 9 and 10. 9 and 10 is not going to get him there, and it puts him at risk every time he pushes out a 9 of falling back and killing his Ozeki run. Anyway, he faced Gonayama. Gonayama comes into this tournament looking to get a bit more consistency himself. Not sure why, but Gonayama decided that he would enter a thrusting battle with the thrust master himself, Daesho. Got a bit too overcommitted. There was a bit of thrusting. It was a pretty good go, but Daesho basically felt he got a bit overcommitted and got a decent pull down. Tsukiyatoshi diagonal pull down on Gonayama. He notches up another win. Gonayama back to the drawing board. Takayasu, our other Komusubi, our perennial runner-up in the Yusho. Everyone wants to see, I think, Takayasu, the big bear, get a win eventually before he retires. And bear in mind, this is how long Takayasu's been around. He has a 733 win, 544 loss, 129 absent record. At 33, he is a veteran, but he's still got a little bit of time there. So he should get himself there. Anyway, where are we at there? Let's go to Tobizaru versus Shodai, next down on the list. Shodai got the Oshidashi win as Tobizaru. He was slightly off balance. I didn't think Tobizaru quite had his balance in this fight. He did get pushed back. It was a really close call as Tobizaru went back over the bales, very close to a Shinatai regardless, as Shodai face planted at the bales. Win went to Shodai. Look, Tobizaru, again, he generally has good balance, but he is a bit of a chaos agent, so that can work against him sometimes, moving too fast. Nishikigi got a good win over Ryuden, pushed back, better strength, forced Ryuden over in a Sukiyanage beltless arm throw. Kimbozan, easy Yorikiri win over Shonanumi, pretty quick. One of our other wonder kids from November, Ichi Yamamoto, he lost Yorikiri in a bit of a thrusting Sapari battle with our former Ozeki Osanayama. That was pretty fast. Hirodumi, he got a Yorikiri win over Hokuseiho. Hokuseiho tried his standard leaning technique. Hirodumi didn't really allow him much respite. He got a really good underarm front grip on the belt, and he ended up with a double grip. Used his body to push and get him moving to the bales. Didn't let him rest too long. I think Hokuseiho might be in a bit of trouble as other Rishiki, including even Midori Fuji in that marathon in November. They use everything to try and negate his leaning style and keep him moving. Now down to, there's a few newcomers. Aoyama coming back up into Makuchi. He lost on that battle. We'll attack some of those younger guys, the newcomers, in a later episode. We're kind of running out of time in this one. Try and keep it a bit shorter. Looking at our returners from injury, Enho has pulled out at the last minute, which will probably push him way down low in Jonidan next time if he does come back. A fairly serious neck injury. It's taking a long time for him to get over. Really want to see him come back. I'd hate to see him retire at such a young age. Wakataka Kage on return, second tournament since his ACL operation. He's down in Makushita, which is third division for the second tournament. He's at Makushita 1. He had a larger KO up against him, but it's very clear Wakataka Kage better balance, better strength, and overpowered him for that win. Our other wonder kid, 20-year-old Hakkiyoi, he returns to Makushita again with Wakataka Kage. I think he's at Makushita 3 West or something. After his shoulder surgery, showed he's recovered and in good form. It was a pretty big test. It was a double grip battle with Yago. It was an interrupted match with a Mawashi tightening break. Hakkiyoi belt came a bit loose fairly quickly. The referee, the Gyoji, got it back up and running again. It's a pretty good match if you get a replay. Went for an Iwatanage win for Hakkiyoi, a good start. They only do, I think, 7 matches in that lower division before they get up to Juryo. So that's it for day one. I'll push along as we can, and we'll attack some of the other fights, get a little bit more detailed as the tournament goes on. Now, into the new year, obviously, you may have heard of the earthquake in Western Japan, up around some of those regions. That's around Endo's home. His cheer squad obviously was affected. They were going to come, and they couldn't come. I know Endo was a bit concerned about his family and did call and got in contact with them fairly early. If you have the chance, make a donation to one of the charities, Red Cross or one of the other charities that can assist those people as they struggle with the earthquake damage and even a little bit of a tsunami. Not as bad, obviously, as 2011. Anyway, we'll move along. I've got a bit more trivia for you this year, a little bit more links and things on my Let's Learn Sumo Twitter. We may even move a little bit into YouTube and streaming that way. And I hope you can join me for the rest of the year. We'll move along. Come see me on my Instagram or Twitter at Let's Learn Sumo. Ask me a question and I'll try and get back to you. Anyway, Hakkiyoi, Let's Learn Sumo.